He does want to go out and get from the door. Yeah. There's no problem. I'll try it.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Good evening. Welcome to Congregation Dor Tamid and our Friday evening Kabbalat Shabbat worship service. It is so great to see all of you here tonight in our sanctuary, as well as those of you joining us virtually through Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, or our website. We are so glad all of you are here tonight joining us as we welcome in this Shabbat. And as we do so, we know we come together for a variety of purposes. Some of us are in a period of mourning and we seek the comfort of community as we remember those we have lost. Some of us are here because we are seeking prayers of healing for ourselves or those we love, those in our immediate and broader circles. Some of us are here because we have a simcha this weekend, as tomorrow morning, Shomri Kaider Chafetz is going to come to the, come to the Bima, be called to the Torah, lead us in prayer, and teach us from our ancient wisdom. And in doing so, we will call him a bar mitzvah, the newest adult member of the Jewish people. And all of us are here tonight because it is Shabbat, this day of rest that we are given to take a step back and rest and reflect, to renew our souls as we finish this week that included Yom HaKippurim, our holiest day of the year, and everything that comes with it, the fasting, the introspection, the digging deep in our souls, and the tshuva that leads us to be better people. So it's good that Shabbos is here because we can all now take that breath and enter into this holy day together as a community. We begin by singing the words from the Psalms on page 128 that say how beautiful it is that all of us are here together.
Idei matov manai sheverachim gam yachad. Idei matov manai sheverachim gam yachad. Idei matov manai sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim sheverachim gam yachad.
As we do each week, we welcome into Shabbat by bringing more light into creation. So Shomri, I'm going to ask you to come forward along with your family so that you all can kindle our Sabbath lights as your brothers can come up too, as we turn to page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We turn now to page 124 as we read responsively. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. Page 131, Shiru Adonai.
Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God of the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash.
Page 133 for Psalm 98. Mizmor, Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Ki Niflaot Asa Hoshia Lo Imino Uzroa Kodsho. Together, a psalm. Sing to God a new song. For God has worked wonders. God's right hand, God's holy arm, has won God victory. Adonai has manifested God's victory, has displayed God's triumph in the sight of the nations. God was mindful of God's steadfast love and faithfulness toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Raise a shout to Adonai, all the earth. Break into joyous songs of praise. We turn now to page 142 as we prepare to welcome in the angels of Shabbat with the singing of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 144 as we transition into Mari with the Shabbat or the Shema and its blessings. And I'm going to invite Shomri to come forward to lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דיברה קירותי והמליך מלכותי.
בחייכנו יום אחד ובחיי כל בית ישראל.
בגלה ובזמן קריב. ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ועולמי. יתברך ויסתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל ושמי דקודשה ברכו. נעלה מן כל ברכותי ושירותה. תושבחתה ונחמתה
דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai Amvorach. Baruch Adonai Amvorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalalai lai lai Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach sha'arim. Uvitvuna mishanei tim umachalif et hazmanim. Umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Orei yom v'layla. Golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom u'me'vi layla. Uma'avdil ben yom u'ben layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Please be seated. It happened that the old synagogue in town got a new rabbi. A new young rabbi who came excited to join this illustrious, well-established, 80-plus-year-old synagogue. And as he got there, he realized the synagogue had a problem. That each Shabbat, Friday night and Saturday morning, his congregants would break out into a fight. Without fail, every Shabbos, right before the Shema, the congregation would break out into a fight. Half the congregation insisted and fought as hard as they could that for the Shema, you stand up. Because don't you know, for that this most important prayer, you have to stand? The other half of the congregation, on the other hand, fought with all of their intensity that for the Shema, you sit. Don't you know halakha? Don't you know Jewish law? Hillel says to sit. And back and forth they went. And not only did they fight during Shabbos services on Friday night and Shabbat morning, but they fought in the ritual committee, back and forth. You stand, no, you sit, no, you sit, no, you stand. And then it spilled over into the board meetings. You stand or you sit. In fact, it was permeating the entire life of the congregation. This fight over whether or not to stand or sit for the Shema. The rabbi eventually found out that there was still alive one of the founding members of the congregation. And so he, along with representatives from both camps, went to visit this 103-year-old man. And the first group said, you were here from the beginning of the synagogue. Don't we stand for the Shema? Isn't that how it's always been? Isn't that the tradition? And he says, no, that's not the tradition. And the other camp said, well, then it must be the other way. We must have sit for the Shema from the beginning. Isn't that our tradition? No, that's not our tradition. And the rabbi said, well, you have to give me an answer. I've got the whole synagogue fighting with one another. I can't take it anymore. Back and forth, that's all I hear. Stand and sit and stand and sit. Ah, that's the tradition. They've been fighting from day one about this. We come to the Shema. We come to this line in our service, which many refer to as the watchword of our faith. A line that is so known that when the Mishnah opens up by asking, when do you say the Shema at night? There isn't even an explanation of what Shema is. It's just assumed that everyone knows it. It is the line in our service that our youngest know and that we are commanded to say even on our deathbeds. It's that important. Yet it's not a prayer. It's not a prayer. It doesn't ask God for anything. It doesn't thank God for something that God has done for us. It's a declarative statement. It's even a command that we are reminding ourselves of. It's a mitzvah. Hear, O Israel. Listen. Pay attention. Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. Tomorrow morning, we will read from Parshat Ha'azinu. The beginning of the Parsha, which Shomri is not going to read, he's reading from later verses, but the beginning of the Parsha begins with that very word, Ha'azinu, which comes from the Hebrew root word ozen, ear. Ha'azinu literally means give your ear to something. Listen up, pay attention. And in Moses' last words to the Jewish people, in this section of Torah that is Shirat Moshe, the Song of Moses, his swan song, he begins by telling us to listen, to pay attention. We've got this reminder on Moses' last days on earth that it is so critical for us to listen to one another. Because there's a distinct difference to just hearing and listening. In rabbinical school, I wrote my entire rabbinic thesis with the West Wing on in the background. And I heard it, but I wasn't listening. I have, and Mike will tell you this, and he does too, background music on in my office a lot when I'm alone. I'm not really listening. I'm hearing it, but I'm not listening. The difference is that listening requires us to pay attention. It requires us to give something of ourselves to the other, to give of ourselves so that we can then internalize what they are giving to us. In Hebrew, the phrase for paying attention is, Israelis, sim lev, to give your heart, to place your heart on something. When we listen, shma, when we give our ears to, when we put our heart to something, we then make that connection to the other person, to that which is being told to us. And we give that kavod, that honor to the other person when we truly listen, when we open up our hearts to the other and make that true connection and true relationship. We turn to page 152, and as is our custom, we will remain seated for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha vaderech, uvshochpecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayuletot tafot beineinecha, uktavtam al mezuzot, beitecha uvisharecha, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet.
Page 157, we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha neder b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha neder b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh baleh. Nora tehilot oseh baleh. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. V'amidenu shomrenu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful, guarding our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asod et hashabat ledorot haberit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asod et hashabat ledorot haberit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam, oti leolam, veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asod et hashabat ledorot haberit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asod et hashabat ledorot haberit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asod et hashabat ledorot haberit olam.
We turn to page 164 as we rise for the tefillah.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Adonai sifatai titach, ufi agidi latecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'koneh hakol, V'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevii gula livnei v'neihem, l'man shemo b'yahava, melech ozer u'mashiach u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham, be'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia, morid atal, mechalkel chayim behesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, zomek novlim berofei cholim, umatir asurim, umkayim emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal yevurot, umidom elach, melech memit umchaye umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'emanat le'achayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yalalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, amen.
Us now to think of those members of our community who are ill. Some are at home, some are in the hospital, some have diseases and illnesses from which they may never recover. We think of all of them, all of our friends, our family, those in our immediate and broader circles who are in need of this prayer of healing. We think especially of Richard Zussman, Lee Silverstein, Jill Van Team, Eleanor Goodman, Charles Goodman, Yuli Makovich, Libby Routman, Laurel Phoenix, Marjorie Whitmore, Jerry Phillips, Claire Levin, Paul Kershon, Reva Fisher, Chandler Jacobs, Aaron Withers, Brianna Jacobs, Leslie Knight, Bert Singerman, Stephen Schiff, Mateo Velazquez, Dr. David Mazel, Janelle Siegel, Rachel Davis, Max Jacobs, Charlie Kaplan, Kathy Waldner, Susan Abrams, Jerry Jacobs, Christopher Denton, Barney Greenberg, Lynn Greenberg, Jerry Gimple, and Phyllis Lapin. If you are thinking of someone who is in need of a prayer of healing, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours. We think of all of them, all who are in need of healing, all those around the world who are suffering from COVID. We think of those members of the healthcare community who are in need of support and love, hope, and help. So we sing this prayer of healing.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, a renewal of body, a renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 586 as we rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shehu notesh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and to lose. A thing for the fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost. the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, life and death. At this sacred moment of our Shabbat evening worship, we think longingly and lovingly of those taken from us recently and at this season in years past. We are marking the yard sites, the anniversary of their passing on this Shabbat, of Arnold Chayet, Lloyd Stockel, Margaret Danzig, Louis Shumsky, Abraham Fagis, Sandra Hodis, Ava Waldner, Luzia Bessa, Peter Phillips, and Harriet Meyer. If you are remembering someone on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours, or if you are joining us virtually, to add their name to the chat. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be a blessing as we connect their memories to the millions of our people who have no one to say Kaddish for them, and the thousands and thousands who have died as a result of the pandemic, as well as the Shmei Rabbah, the great, holy, and awesome name of God that we praise now with the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shmei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach yerutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chayei v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agalav v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam l'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yidromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'kudsha brichu. Le'elam mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da miran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlaba rabba min shemaya. Im aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all the bereaved here and everywhere with the blessing of peace. Together we all say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimeru amen.
Our concluding song tonight is Adon Olam, page 625.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra V'yet Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Hayal V'hu Hove V'hu Yiyeh B'tifara V'hu Echad V'yein Sheni Lehamshil lo leachbira, v'li reshit, v'li tachnit, v'lo ha'oz, v'ham misra, v'hu eli, v'chai goali, v'tzorchat li, v'et zara, v'hu nisi umanos li, menat kosi, v'yom mekra, b'yado, afkid ruchi, v'et ishan, v'yaira, V'imruchi giviyati Adonai li velo yira.
Please be seated. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbos.
It's great being here with you all tonight as we welcomed in this Shabbat, both virtually and in person. Just a few brief announcements before we conclude with Kiddush and a motzi and a closing benediction. Tomorrow morning, we will gather together at 10:30 a.m. for our Shabbat morning worship service, where Shomri will celebrate becoming a bar mitzvah. He will lead us in prayer, read from the Torah, and then teach us from its sacred and ancient wisdom. Then on Sunday, religious school is in session in the morning, and the Sisterhood Book Club meets at 7:30 p.m. On Monday, Hebrew with Molly is at 10 in the morning, and our Erev Sukkot dinner and dancing in and around the sukkah is at 6:30. We are going to be joined here at CDT by the IAC for a really fun night of live music, falafel dinner, and a Kona ice truck. Rain or shine, we will meet. If it rains, we'll have dinner in the tent and the music will be inside. Otherwise, we plan on being outside with the sukkah and on the patio. So we hope to see you here Monday evening at 6:30 p.m. If you haven't yet RSVP'd, please make sure to email Stacy or call her after Shabbat is over. On Tuesday, our office is closed because of the first day of Sukkot. But then on Wednesday, C. Diddy is having a lounge night at 7 p.m. On Thursday, our knitting and crochet group will meet at 1 p.m. And on Friday, our Kabbalat Shabbat service is at 7:30, where we will have anniversary blessings next week. Then on Saturday morning, next Shabbat, we will celebrate the bar mitzvah of Simon Thompson. So we have a lot coming up, including a week from Monday, Simchat Torah, and other programs, events, classes, services, as we move through and out of the Holy Day season into the rest of the year. So we hope to see you all often here at CET, both in person in the building or outside, and also through our virtual connections. Especially a special thank you this week goes to our knitting and crochet group for the hundreds of Beanie Baby and octopi that they have made and donated to hospital NICUs for premature babies. It's really a phenomenal mitzvah that they are all doing. So thank you to them. If you are interested in joining the knitting and crochet group, you can talk to Leslie Penuel, who coordinates it. We're going to conclude our service this evening with Kiddush and Motzi. So I'm going to ask Shomri to come forward again to help lead us in Kiddush as we turn to page 123. Please rise.
Shomri, grab the Kiddush cup, okay? You can uncover it. Yes, you can uncover it.
Shomri, you can also take your mask down so you can drink it after the bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'yavahu v'ratzon inchilanu zicharon l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'yava u'vratzon inchalatanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Now, Shomri, if you would uncover the challah as we sing together.
Amotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Amotzi lechem min haaretz.
Te'avon. And as Shomri has the first bite of challah, we ask for God's blessing. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'et kol v'nei adam b'shalom. May God give strength to our people. May God bless all of us, all Israel and all creation with the blessing of peace. As together we all say, Amen, Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right?
I see.
No, they can take from the house because it's homemade and the whole idea is that they can share. Can I cut it? It's